hospital system. Working in a healthcare environment has unique challenges and experiences for our employees. Our goal is to utilize the arts to build programs that allow employees to reflect on their unique experiences, to learn something new, to engage with their colleagues, and to really utilize the arts as a tool to better themselves and better who they're able to bring to work every single day.
Hi, I'm Tom Vernon. I am the Chief Experience Officer, and I am the proud sponsor of Cpam. The Houston Methodist experience encompasses not only our patients, their families, and the community, but also our employees. Our culture is a differentiator, and the key to our culture are our people. So the investments we make in our employees, Cpam being one of them, helps us do things that I don't think other organizations are positioned as well to do. So when you look at the experience at Houston Methodist and arts and medicine and all the things we do in Cpam, it encompasses the whole person.
So my name is Melissa Aitin-Fisu, and I'm a project specialist at Houston Methodist Hospital with the Center for Performing Arts Medicine. And specifically, I'm in charge of employee arts enrichment. The inspiration for this Bloom mural project, the first thing is the space. Walking through the Duns-Gerlach crosswalk, it's really a high traffic area. And I had just finished a project 2 months prior. I had created a design that was wrapped around the letters Midtown for Juneteenth. So just having done that project, that was fresh in my mind, and I noticed the columns on each side had the same three-dimensional feel as the letters I had done in Midtown, and I immediately was inspired of doing employee artwork on those pillars. The first thing we did was set up tables across our campus. At those stations, we called them Bloom drawing stations, and we had all the materials, and people could come and sit down, take a few minutes out of their day, and just draw. The second thing we did is we connected with Eunice. Hospital staff work tirelessly. Their days are long, so for them to take some time out of their day to do artwork, it isn't always possible. But going onto units created the opportunity right there for them, and it was more accessible. This was probably the best way to collect images for the project because I got to actually go onto units into break rooms at a time when employees could take a little break away from the stresses of their job and just relax into the artwork. It was just coming up on springtime in Houston, and I thought Texas native flowers would be a really great theme for the project because flowers are vibrant, they're colorful, they're beautiful. They bring a sense of joy, and they're fairly simple to draw and color for people. My job was to facilitate. I brought the supplies, I brought the materials, and I would just offer people a chance to take a break and make some art.
Houston Methodist is an incredible pioneer in the use of arts and health for our employees. When we come to work here, we're surrounded by this environment of care to impact the whole experience of what it means to be a community member here at Houston Methodist. Whether that's the mosaic in Bush Atrium or live music being played 365 days a year in our hospital lobbies, we understand that the environment around ourselves, our employees, our patients, and our community is incredibly beneficial in the art of healing.
I think and I process information musically. When I hear a song that I like, it usually takes me back to a point in time of how it made me feel. So when I look at arts and I look at music, I look at what we do in Cpam, it touches people in a different way. It touches them and meets them where they are. And I look at Cpam as a fiber that sort of creates a harmony of our people. Art is unique, different people connect in different ways. So I see it as a conduit that brings us together, like an orchestra or a symphony.
I believe what employees got from this project is a real sense of pride and camaraderie. I feel like participants who created and contributed a drawing to the mural are going to really feel a sense of pride when they walk down the corridor and they can point out their artwork.
We want to make sure that our employee arts enrichment opportunities allow our employees to bring their best self to work every day. So whether that's participating in our Arts for All programs, come join our choir, be a part of our classes, enter your artwork in our photography competition or the Bloom project. We want you to be a part of that.
We want to support you in all aspects of your life, in arts, integrates and penetrates all aspects of your life. How you see things, how you reflect, how you relate to others. For me personally, songs bring back certain points in time, memories, and emotion. We all have those connections. And when you walk over our crosswalk right now, when you walk over into Crane Garden from Skurlock, you'll see our employee artwork on the wall. We're engaging our people to express their artistic side of them and help them relate to how it impacts them and others. And I just think that is groundbreaking, and I think it is incredibly impactful.
Hello, this is David Syme coming to you from my home in West Cork, Ireland. I'm very proud and privileged to be bringing you some music presented by Houston Methodist Hospital to provide some comfort to those of you who are recovering or healing. Houston Methodist Hospital has been a big part of my own journey to recovery. And this next piece that I'm going to play for you is the Jewish prayer for healing, the Misha Beirach, which asks God to give us the courage to make our lives a blessing.
Hi, my name is Melissa Aitinfisiu, and I work here at Houston Methodist for the Center for Performing Arts Medicine. I'm excited to share with you today about a famous painter, Jackson Pollock. So how did Jackson Pollock make these beautiful artworks that we would consider abstract? And why did he make these beautiful artworks? What motivated him? What inspired him? How did he create this style of artwork? So there's a history behind how Jackson Pollock came to this type of painting. Let's take a look back in history a little bit. An amazing painter that I really love, an Italian painter named Caravaggio, did really beautiful, realistic paintings in the 1600s. Here's an example of a Caravaggio painting, Supper at Emmaus, that he made. This painting is fantastic. It's realistic, it's realism. So how did we go from this beautiful realistic painting in 1601 to the painting by Jackson Pollock in 1950? Completely different styles. Jackson Pollock's artwork is considered abstract expressionism. His artwork is abstract. It's non-figurative. It's not real looking at all. So how did we progress from these two different art styles, from one to the other, in a span of 350 years? Let's take a little look at how we did that, or what really changed. What was the catalyst that made us change from real artwork, realism, to more abstract? Well, here's the solution, or here's the change that happened, was the advent of photography. When photography came along, it really changed how painters created artwork, because painters no longer needed to create realistic artwork. Photography could do that now. In fact, photography could probably even do it better. The first photo was taken in 1826 in France, and the first cameras came to the United States in about the 1830s. Keep moving along to 1905, 1910, when the Kodak Brownie camera became accessible to the middle class, so more and more people were taking photos, and suddenly painters found themselves having to pivot, having to shift, having to change their style. So what happened during this shift from realistic painting to what we have now was really a change in capturing emotion and capturing feeling in artwork and in painting versus capturing realism. So after photography came along, you see a change in artwork going from Impressionism, where artists were capturing an impression of what they saw, to Cubism, to Fauvism, to what Jackson Pollock came along and created, which is abstract expressionism. Here's a great example of two different paintings by Jackson Pollock. Here's one of his first paintings in 1934. It's more of an impressionist style. Then, just about 9 years later, in 1943, his style changed to this more abstract artwork. So what motivated Jackson Pollock? What made him change his style? What really was a catalyst in his new style of artwork? Well, it was another amazing artist named David Alfaro Siqueiros. This is a Mexican painter who was trained in the more traditional mural style in Mexico. And in artwork, artists, we often look to other artists for inspiration. So Jackson Pollock looked to David Siqueiros for his inspiration. David Siqueiros came to the United States. He first started doing murals in Los Angeles, and then he went to New York City. And when he got to New York City, he put on a workshop. Here's some artwork and examples of artwork from his workshop. At his workshop, Jackson Pollock attended. It was 1936. Jackson Pollock attended the workshop, and at the workshop, they were experimenting with pouring paint, with seeing how paint behaved in different ways. So they took different materials, they used different weights of paint, different substrates of paint, and they tried to see how these paints meshed and worked together and created really fascinating designs. Jackson Pollock was extremely inspired, and this really started playing into his own artwork, and it really changed his style, and it allowed him to head towards the beautiful paintings that we see on display at museums today. Here's a close-up of one of David Siqueiros' paintings, and you can see those details, those drips that change in texture and content. And here is painting number 5, one of Jackson Pollock's very famous paintings, a phenomenal artwork, and you see how the style has completely changed. So Jackson Pollock called these action paintings. He put his canvas on the ground instead of on an easel. He said this allowed him to move around the whole canvas and use all 4 sides of it. He said it made him feel like he was in the painting. He really got energy. He said like grounding the painting, putting it on the ground allowed him to manipulate it in a different way. He also used different types of paint. He's known for using house paint, enamel paint, and because these paints mix together and move differently, they create all kinds of patterns and a composition that's just really achieved in his own unique way. So it's thanks to Jackson Pollock that we have this beautiful technique, these beautiful paintings, and a different way of doing them. Here's one more look at one of Jackson Pollock's paintings. Now, looking at his paintings definitely inspires us to try his paintings. Today, we are going to take some time and try our very own Jackson Pollock inspired painting. I have some materials set up here, and we're going to try the techniques that he used. One thing Jackson Pollock did is he wanted to get rid of brushes and use all different types of things like sticks, paint knives, dripping, yarn, and different techniques and ways of putting the paint on. So I don't have traditional instruments in front of me today. One of the things he did was splatter. So we're going to take some paint here and just let it drip and splatter onto the canvas. Ooh. One thing I'm doing is I'm adding a little bit of water to the paint. By adding water, it gives it a different viscosity and it pours more easily, it drips more easily, and it makes really fascinating shapes and designs. I'll take this water here and pour it on the yellow. I'm actually going to mix it with the back of my brush. And from here, I have it nice and liquidy, and I can pour it on my canvas, making all kinds of different designs than you would get with a brush. Okay. I'm going to go back to the front of my brush now and add a little more green. So I went from pouring to splattering. Something else you can do if you're doing this at home is you can take yarn, dip it in some water to get it a little bit heavier. Then I'm going to drag the yarn through the paints. I feel like this is not picking up as much paint as I like, so I'm going to use my brush and get even more paint on there. Again, be creative, be fearless. There's no right way to do this. So now I've loaded my yarn with paint and I can drop it into different areas of my canvas, and I can even drag it around. This is making some really nice marks on the paper. Mark making, pattern, composition, these are other art forms that Jackson Pollock really explored in his style. Another fun thing is to just go ahead and pour the paint directly out of the canister and just let it mix how it does. As much as this seems playful and as much as it seems easy, there are decisions to be made. For example, color choice. If you look at Jackson Pollock's paintings, there is a lot of thought that goes into the unique colors that he uses. So today I chose specific colors that I felt like represented nature. So for me, this is what to do. When you do your own, you can think of the color choice or color palette that you would like as well. For example, you could do fiery reds and oranges and yellows if you wanted to represent something with high energy. Cooler colors, like I'm using, blues, greens, these are more representative of slower, softer ideas. I used up most of my blue. I'm going to come in with an even darker color now with some black. And this time, I might not even put the lid back on. We'll see how much black comes out if I leave it without the lid. I'm using all the edges of mine. That's just naturally how my technique seems to be, but each person is going to make such a unique composition. Everyone makes their own choices. Maybe you want to make more black in one section instead of another area. Again, if you look at Jackson Pollock's paintings, you can see the balance that he does, where he puts more colors, where he puts lighter colors. And filling up a canvas takes quite a bit of time. As you can see, I've already used 4 colors, and I could keep going and keep adding to this painting. Sometimes it's hard to know when to stop. But as you work on your own painting, naturally you'll find a stopping point. Naturally you'll find a technique that suits you. And naturally you'll find an expression that represents something artistic that we all have inside. So I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about the history of how Jackson Pollock came to this type of abstract artwork. And I definitely encourage you to get your own materials and try it out. If you don't have a place inside, maybe try it outside so you can really let loose and not worry about getting things messy and really just explore the techniques that Jackson Pollock shared. So thank you so much, and I hope that you all get a chance to do some painting on your own.
Hi, my name is Sarah Rossi. I'm a board certified music therapist, and I am excited as you join us in an artful encounter today that's titled Love Languages and Lyrics. We'll be outlining different things that 5 love languages can be revealed within lyrics. And songs are something that we can use to communicate with other people, but oftentimes lyrics are also parallel to how we speak. And so they may help us in providing clear communication with those around us when expressing our love languages. So if you've never heard of the 5 love languages, I'll review them with us. The first one is words of affirmation. And it's exactly as it says, using words to affirm people around you. So this could be everything from compliments to writing a note to somebody or sending a thoughtful text. And as we move down the line, the next one is acts of service. This one is where you can provide anything from running an errand for somebody, doing a household chore, or just anticipating that someone may need a specific type of support. It demonstrates acts of service. As we keep going down the line, receiving gifts is exactly as it says, is either giving or receiving things. It could be a physical gift that you give to somebody, but it could also be something like a song, or it could be something like a poem or a work of art that you gift to somebody. The next one is quality time. And this is where you spend time being present with someone in the moment. It could be everything from walking in the park with someone to going to a concert together. And the last one is physical touch. That could be everything from an embrace, a kiss, holding hands, a pat on the back, handshake. Those are different gestures of physical touch within the love languages. And you can see in our next slide that there is a QR code that if you are interested in learning more about these 5 love languages, you can take a quiz that outlines different questions to help you learn more about what love languages might be most important to you, as well as to the people around you. So you're welcome to access that by opening your camera app on your phone, hovering over the QR code, and clicking on the link that pops up to take that quiz if you are interested in learning more about that. So today I wanted to share with you some ideas that lyrics might reveal related to learning about love languages and discovering what love languages are most important to you. And I wanted to bring forth some music that could demonstrate some of that and give you a challenge in identifying what lyrics might reveal about love languages, and how we communicate within lyrics is parallel to how we communicate with people in our lives. I have a couple of different songs that I would love to share with you. This first one you might recognize, and I'm gonna just sing through a little bit of it to refresh your mind of this song. And as you listen, I encourage you to think of, what are those lyrics saying? Which love language might they be talking about? Is it the words of affirmation, the acts of service, quality time, the physical touch, or the receiving gifts? And see what you might think after listening through the song.
When I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change, 'cause you're amazing, just the way you are. And when you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while, 'cause girl, you're amazing, just the way you are.
So if you were listening through some of those lyrics, the ones that stood out to me that might reveal what love language they're talking about is "you're amazing, just the way you are." And this one relates to words of affirmation, telling someone out loud or singing to someone out loud that you're amazing just the way you are, with that type of compliment. So that one was just to get us warmed up. We'll move to the next one and see what you might think of what love language is within this one. We'll listen to this next song called "Lean on Me" by Bill Withers, and I encourage you to reconsider and review those love languages and see which one this one might be talking about.
Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
If you were thinking of physical touch with this one, you would be correct. Takes that title, Lean on Me. You could take that literally and think of how we can physically lean on people in our lives. I've also had people consider the love language of acts of service within this one too, where it says, I'll help you carry on when you're not strong. And that could also be interpreted as an act of service. And so this song reveals a little bit of how we might value two different love languages at the same time, or we might express two different love languages. And that's okay. We might need multiple things. So as we go to this next one, I encourage you to try to guess which love language might apply to this song.
I was a sculptor, but then again, no. Or a man who makes potions on a traveling show. I know it's not much, but it's the best I can do. My gift is my song, and this one's for you.
So within Elton John's song, Your Song, this one gives it away in that last line where it says, my gift is my song, and this one's for you. So if you were thinking of giving or receiving gifts within this song, that is absolutely the love language highlighted within this one. It could be a song, it could be a physical gift. We love that that one highlights that. So this next one, I want you to think through it. It might have a different way of considering these lyrics, but see if you can guess which love language they're talking about in this one.
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. It's not warm when she's away. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. She's always gone too long. Anytime she goes away. That's a...
So this one takes a different approach to expressing a love language. This one actually talks about feeling a lack of a love language within their life. So if you guessed quality time, that's exactly what this one is talking about. It's saying how they don't feel warmth when someone's not spending time with them. This one talks about how they are missing the warmth when someone is away. So I also want you to consider how this song shows us that sometimes we might be feeling a deficit in a love language within our life that we value. Maybe we're not getting enough quality time or enough physical touch. And it's okay to ask and express that to people around you. So we have one final song that we'll go through that I would love for you to guess that love language once more. And I hope you have a listen to this one.
When the rain is blowing in your face and the whole world is on your case, I could offer you a warm embrace to make you feel my love.
So in this song, Make You Feel My Love, it has that lyric where it says, I could offer you a warm embrace to make you feel my love. This one highlights physical touch. Sometimes we need to ask for that, or we can offer it to people. And that's exactly what this song highlights. So I wanted to leave you with a couple of takeaways from the time that we've spent together in reviewing how these lyrics capture these different love languages. So some of these takeaways include that it's important to both give and receive these different love languages depending on what is most valuable to you. And it's also okay that we value different love languages as well as multiple ones at one time. We're all unique people and we may need multiple things and we might need different things through these love languages. The next point is sometimes we can experience a deficit in receiving or giving a love language, and that it's okay to express that to people around you. It can also help us to build stronger relationships with people around us. It could be our colleague, a loved one, a friend that's in your life, when we're able to clearly express these love languages that are important to us. And finally, this allows us to have clearer communication, words, find those gestures, discover what gifts are meaningful to people, and be able to provide them or ask for them. That can be a really powerful communication tool when connecting with others. So I appreciate you spending time with me today in learning about these love languages and seeing what love songs can teach us about that. And I encourage you to find what are your favorite love languages, not only within your life, but maybe within the love songs that you listen to on a daily basis. And as we had shown before, you are welcome to take the love language quiz or even share the quiz with a loved one to learn more about yourself and others. And I hope that you keep on embracing those love languages within your life and being open to what love songs might teach us about the love languages in our life. Thank you for spending this time with me today in discovering what love songs and the lyrics they hold can reveal about love languages within our life. My name is Sarah Rossi, and I'm a music therapist with the Center for Performing Arts Medicine, and we appreciate that you shared this time with us together.
Wish you bluebirds in the spring for a lovely song for you to sing, and then a kiss, but more than this, I wish you love. And in July, a lemonade to cool you off in some leafy glade. I wish you health, but more than wealth, I wish you love. My broken heart and I agree that we two may never be. So with my best, my very best, I set you free. I wish you shelter from the storm, a cozy fire to keep you warm. But most of all, when those snowflakes fall, I wish you love. Ba-doon-to-die-die-die, ba-doon-to-die-die-die, da-doon-to-die-die, ba-doon-to-die-die, ba-ba-doon-da-da-da-da-da, ba-doon-to-beep-ba-do-da, ba-do-da-da-dee-ba-oh-ah, boo-ba-bee-ba-boo-bee, ba-do-ba-boo-ba-boo-ba-boo-bee-ba-do-bee. Boom day, boom, but a little baby, but do ba boo ba boo wee, but do day, but a da do 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 do, but do ba boo ba bee da boo ba wee, ba 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 bee ba bay down, ba boo bee boo bay down, for ba bee ba boo wee, for boo ba boo ba do ba boo bee boo boo. I wish you bluebirds in the spring for a lovely song for you to sing, and and a kiss. But more than this, I wish you love. And in July, a lemonade to cool you off in some leafy glade. I wish you health, but more than wealth, I wish you love. My broken heart and I agree that we two may never be. So with my best, my very best, I set you free. I wish you shelter from the storm, a cozy fire to keep you warm.
Hello and welcome to Artful Encounters. My name is Shay Thornton-Kula and I'm with the Center for Performing Arts Medicine here at Houston Methodist. Thank you so much for joining us today for Artful Encounters. These are brief art experiences where we talk about a unique topic and enjoy the experience from the comfort of your room. Today's topic I'm very excited about. We're going to be thinking about perception and how perception can be utilized in the arts. So for our presentation, Perception, Mistaken Identity, and/or Historic Catfish, let's get started by thinking about what perception actually means. Perception is not necessarily reality. Perception can be defined as our recognition and interpretation of sensory information, what we see and how we take that in. Perception also includes how we then respond to that information. We can think of perception as a process where we start by taking in information from our environment and then we use that information to interact with our environment. So here's a little comic on the screen, right? What do you see? One sees a 6, one sees a 9. We've all had experiences like this. Maybe you saw the 9. An opportunity presented itself where one thing happened and two different people saw it. And the way they saw it, how they perceived that information, then directly impacted what they did next. So now that we are clear on perception, I want to take us back in time. So we go from this sweet little comic to England, okay? Perception before the advent of photography. On the screen here, you'll see work from one of my favorite artists, Hans Holbein. Hans Holbein was born somewhere between 1497 and 1498 and died in 1543. He was a German painter, a draftsman, a designer, and he was renowned for his precise renderings in his drawings. So the way that he saw the world, he made sure that his drawings were incredibly accurate, right? That was his main skill. Around 1533, Holbein was already starting to paint court personalities, and about 4 years after that, he officially entered the service of King Henry VIII of England. Now we'll talk about King Henry VIII in a little bit, but between 1533 and 1543, when he died of the plague, it is believed that he executed approximately 150 portraits. So what is unique when we look at Holbein's art is that he made a significant impact in the taste of the court, right? What was seen as beautiful, what was seen as less than, and also because he's renowned for his realism. When we, as people today, look back at this time in history, these are the images that we see. So this is how we believe these people existed. So a little exercise. We are going to look at an image right here, Anne of Cleves. I'm going to give you a minute and I'll go quiet, and I want you to answer these 4 questions. You can either write them down, put them in your notes section on your phone, or just think about it. The first is, what do you see? Now that you've spent a little bit of time taking that in, look again. And what makes you think or believe that? So we've been looking at this image a few seconds now, right? Is there anything new that you notice? Maybe that you didn't see at the beginning. Okay, and here's the hard one. Is she beautiful? So I want you to take in those answers, what you originally perceived, as I tell you a little story about the woman that you see in front of you. So going back to King Henry VIII, he had recently lost his third wife. King Henry VIII was known for being married to Catherine of Aragon, who he then divorced. Then he moved to Anne Boleyn, who he beheaded. Then he moved to Jane Seymour. Jane Seymour was believed to be the true love of his life. Jane had given him a son, but now he needed to secure his dynasty with another. Only problem here is that Jane Seymour had passed away in childbirth. So he had to look further. Now the problem here is when you're the monarch, you can't necessarily go traveling around Europe to find your new bride. Hans Holbein went to Germany, he made this incredible portrait and sent it back to King Henry. And what he perceived from this image is that she was incredibly beautiful. She was regal, she was pure. He was very interested in making this young woman his next bride. Now, let's talk about perception. Anne travels from Germany all the way to England. She doesn't speak the language. She doesn't necessarily know what's going on. She's heard about his previous wives, so her perception of King Henry VIII wasn't necessarily glowing. When she was on her way to London, Anne was surprised by a group of masked men led by a tall, burly, middle-aged man who tried to kiss her. Anne, absolutely unused to this behavior, had no idea what was going on, pushed him away in bewilderment and embarrassment. She had actually rejected Henry himself, who was not impressed by her lack of sophistication. See, King Henry VIII believed that true love could conquer anything, and that she was going to see through this mask and just automatically know that this was to be her beloved. According to this tradition, the would-be bride would absolutely fall in love at first sight and swoon into the arms. However, from Anne's perspective, she had no idea. Now, this kind of lack of understanding, the miscommunication here, the perceptions that didn't match up, set off a very low series of events. King Henry VIII said Anne was absolutely, he would never want to marry her. He ended up marrying her, tried to consummate the marriage for 4 days before he absolutely quit, and eventually divorced Anne of Cleves after just a few months. She probably spared herself with that. So let's look at the perception here of King Henry VIII, right? So here's another Hans Holbein image. I'm going to go quiet for a little bit, and we are going to answer these 4 questions. Take a moment. Look at Hans Holbein's portrait of King Henry VIII and answer, what do you see? Now, what makes you think or believe that? Is there anything new that you notice now? And my kicker, is he beautiful? So the perception here that King Henry wanted Hans Holbein to do with this piece of artwork was that he was this big, broad, healthy king. However, in reality, comparisons of surviving sets of his armor showed that his legs were much shorter than the reality that was perceived in this painting. The painting also shows Henry as young and full of health, where in truth he was in his 40s, he was badly injured earlier that year in a tilt yard accident, and he was already suffering from health problems that would affect him for the latter part of his life. So while King Henry used perception and used Hans Holbein to try to figure out, what was next for him, he also wanted to distort that perception for everyone else, utilizing things like costume, right? So the width of his shoulders, how he was standing, the jewels on him to make other people perceive him as strong, to everything from enhancing height, changing colors around, really making him look in his prime when he might not have actually been there. So as we wrap up the idea of perception versus reality, I think it's a unique idea to utilize the concept of perception through the arts, right? So what we see and then how we perceive that and how we interact with our environment. Next time that you're in the hospital, maybe you see some of the artwork on the walls, whether you're scrolling through a gallery online or you go visit an arts institution, I encourage you to look and think about what you're perceiving and what the reality of that situation was. Thank you so much for joining us for Artful Encounters. We appreciate your time and hope that you've learned something new or possibly are going to experience something or perceive something to be different. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Signing off from the Center for Performing Arts Medicine.
When you're smiling, when you're smiling, the whole wide world smiles with you. When you're laughing, when you're laughing, well, yeah, that sun comes shining through. But when you're crying, you bring on the rain. So stop that sighing and be happy again. Just keep on smiling, 'cause when you're smiling, the whole wide world smiles with you. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-bow. When you're smiling, when you're smiling, the whole wide world smiles with you. And when you're laughing, oh, when you're laughing, well, you know that sun comes shining through. But when you're crying, yeah, you bring on that rain. So stop that sign, yeah, and be happy again. Just keep on smiling, 'cause when you're smiling, the whole world smiles. Whole world smiles. The whole world smiles with you.
I'm Steffi Cham, a music therapist and editor with the Center for Performing Arts Medicine here at Houston Methodist. Today I'll be guiding you through a songwriting activity to help capture some of your favorite things, and we'll be building off of the song My Favorite Things. Before we begin, make sure you have something to write with or something else that can record or capture short phrases and words. This is how you'll keep track of your favorite things for the music portion. You may also be doing some speaking or singing with me, so if you want to record yourself, you can grab something now too. I'll start by singing part of the song, My Favorite Things. This will be the framework that we use to write our song today. As you listen, notice how specific the narrator's favorite things are. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. They're just a few of my favorite things. Now we're going to change around this song to make it your own. To do that, start by thinking of some things you really like. Here are some prompts, but if others come to mind, feel free to write them down too. I'll give you about 2 minutes to write down or capture your favorite things. I hope you enjoyed reflecting on things that bring you comfort, joy, or other positive emotions. Now we're going to fit these things into the framework of the song. I'll play an example of the song rearranged with some of my favorites. I like sky blue and flowers and musical theater, Jane Austen books paired with milk tea and cookies, Christmas and reading and magnolia trees. These are a few of my favorite things. They're just a few of my favorite things. I followed the prompts that I gave you from before, but I moved them around and I added some words to help them fit better in the song. Now it's your turn to try. You'll make this song your own in a way that makes sense to you. Here's an example of how you can fill in your answers. You can follow this format exactly as it is, or if you'd like, you can rearrange your answers, or you can even add in more words or repeat this with more answers if you'd like more music to say what you want it to say. When you're ready, let's sing your version of the song. This time, I'll sing through it again, but all I'll do is hum the spots that I left blank. And you can sing or speak your own answers to fill in those blanks. These are a few of my favorite favorite things. Great job! Now that you've created your version of the song and compiled some of your favorite things, you can keep it to yourself or you can share it with others. You can also use it as a way to ground yourself when you're feeling overwhelmed or wanting a break from things that aren't quite your favorite. You can think of your favorite things and sing this song out loud or in your head. This list focuses on things you can see, touch, hear, smell, taste, and feel. Even just imagining yourself experiencing your favorite things through these senses might help you focus on them a little more and help you reorient your mind and body. Thanks for taking this time with me. You can try this activity with other songs you like, or you can check out some of our other activities through Artful Encounters.
together beyond the crowd above this world. We are not too proud to cling together. We're strong as long as we are together. Alone together, the blinding rain, those starless nights were not in vain, for we're together. And what is there to fear as long as we are together? And our love is as deep as the sea, and our love is as great as love can be, and we can weather the great unknown if we're alone together. And our love is as deep as the sea. Our love is as great as our love can be, and we can weather the great unknown if we're alone together.
Hello and welcome to Artful Encounters. My name is Shay Thornton-Kula and I'm with the Center for Performing Arts Medicine. Today we're going to take a couple moments to learn about the artwork behind me, The Arms of Christ by artist Bruce Hayes. This piece has adorned Houston Methodist walls since 1963, and we're going to focus on learning about the figures and the history behind it. Although you may notice that we're filming at Houston Methodist Hospital location in the Bush Atrium, there's a replica of this art piece at all of our Houston Methodist Hospital locations. I encourage you to take a moment and maybe view it for yourself in person. Now, this mosaic makes a massive statement, not only with its scale comprising of 1.5 million in width and 16 feet in height, but also with its profound message. Created by artist Bruce Hayes, it features the outstretched arms of Jesus Christ, flanked by the history of medicine. Starting from the left, we see Hippocrates, often regarded as the father of systematic approach to clinical practice. He emphasized careful observation and documentation of symptoms and disease. You may know him from authoring the Hippocratic Corpus, a collection of texts that laid the foundation for medical ethics and practice still in use today, including the famous oath. His work shifted medicine from the reliance on superstition and religious explanations to a more rational and scientific methodology. Next is Galen, the father of systematic medicine. He was the first physician to use the pulse as a sign of illness. Born in Pergamum and later moving to Rome, Galen became a respected doctor. He even served as the personal physician to 3 Roman emperors. Moving on a little bit, you'll see a character I think all of us will recognize. Florence Nightingale, known as the founder of modern nursing, is also featured. She was born in 1820 and she was devoted to serving others and revolutionizing nursing care. She was the second daughter of a prominent and wealthy British family, and growing up it became very clear that Florence was devoted to serving others. As a teenager, she would spend time helping the sick and poor in the village near her family estate, and she truly began to believe that nursing was her calling. In 1844, she announced her decision to work as a nurse, which, due to her family's social standing, her parents forbade and did not approve of her pursuing. Lucky for us, she didn't listen. Florence Nightingale is best known for leading a group of 38 nurses to care for British soldiers wounded in the Crimean War in 1854. When Nightingale and her nurses arrived at the military hospital, they were shocked at the terrible conditions. They immediately started to clean every room, and Nightingale told her nurses to wash their hands often. Her focus on cleaning and washing hands improved conditions, and thanks to her, we now know it's one of the best ways to stop the spread of disease. To see her patients during the darkest of nights, Nightingale carried a lamp as she walked among their beds. After that, she became known, and here represented, as the Lady with the Lamp. In the center of the mosaic is Jesus Christ, depicted with his arms outstretched. Looking closely, what do you notice about his position, the body language, the use of colors? His figure is quite literally larger than life, and larger than the figures around him too. The location and scale both draw your attention to him as a figure of importance in the mosaic. Moving towards the right side now, we see the progression of medical advancements up through the mid-20th century. I'd like to pause here and almost imagine how would this mosaic might look if Bruce Hayes was creating it today. Would it feature modern technologies like robotic surgery? And then what would it look like if Hayes was creating it 100 years from now? What do we not even know yet that will be part of this mosaic? The mosaic has a rich history. Originally created in Florence, Italy, it was first installed above Houston Methodist Hospital's main tower entrance in 1963. You'll see that in the far, far corner. It was moved in 2017 to its current location, but this relocation process was not easy. It involved meticulously cutting the mosaic into 93 pieces, going in, cleaning, restoring, and replacing the missing pieces of the tile. It had been up for over 50 years. However, the original documents detailing which stones were used and all of those important factors were lost in storm damage due to Tropical Storm Allison in 1991. So a team had to painstakingly go through the tiles and find matching pieces to fill in the gaps. You can still see the lines of the cuts if you look very closely. Now, the story of this mosaic's recreation and its new life is touching. I like to reflect on what the 1.5 million tiles represent. The individuals within our walls, our individual stories, the decisions we make each and every day, and the endless possibilities for the future. Thank you so much for joining today's Artful Encounters. I hope you were inspired or intrigued by the arms of Christ, and take a moment to consider it. On behalf of the Center for Performing Arts Medicine, I'm Shay Thornton-Kula, and thank you so much.
One more time, beat a dum dum, bandida dum dum die die dee da dum dum, bandida dum dum die die dee da dum dum, kumbay kumbay, Mickey's amar, mas tive medo, me quis salvar o meu coração, oh amor, sabem secreto. O medo pode matar o seu coração. Hoje bebê, give the flower water to drink. Hoje bebê, give the flower water to drink. Dida tumpai, bandim berlungkung ai dida tuntai, dida tuntai dai dida tuntai, bye. The rain may fall across the desert. The rain may fall across the sea. The rain may fall upon that flower.